Welcome back to my Canada channel for another reaction video today. If you are new or a returning viewer, I am from Australia and I just recently set up this channel to start learning more about Canada and just doing a lot of videos on Canada, learning about what they're like and a lot of different things, a bit of entertainment as well. Like the last one I did was the Red Green show, comedy show, which I really liked that. That was the first time I watched it. Just a bit of compilation. What was it? Just little clips. Of like a funny segment. So that was good. So that's what we're doing over here. But one of the videos I did kind of learning about Canada, I think it could have been by AI. You know how popular that is these days. But this is someone giving more of their personal experience, or so these are the type of ones I probably will try to follow from now. So let me know your thoughts on it anyway. But this video is titled 10 Things You Should Know Before Moving to Canada. And I clicked on this video and another one, and now I am like on the side, you know, on PC at least. On the browser, you get a lot of recommendations on the side, and there's a lot of these style of videos, like things you should know, things about Canada. There's a lot of these type of videos, but let's get into this one.
Hey guys, I'm Dan from The New Travel, and today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, Canada. And specifically,
there are a lot of like travel type channels where they're people like him that they've got like a travel channel. They're traveling to different countries and do videos on them. So as I said, they're just giving their feedback.
And today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, Canada. Specifically, I want to tell you guys 10 things you need to know if you're planning to move to Canada. Some of these you probably already know. Sorry about that, eh? But hopefully a few of these are new for you, or at least give you a more complete understanding of what it is that makes Canada the country that it is.
Okay, so we're getting a bit of an outline of what we've got here. 10 things you should know. Well, there looks to be 5. They'll put another. So what we're going to cover in this video is cold, languages, friendliness, racism, multiculturalism, food, pay too much. I feel like he typed that one in with some pain. Outdoors, public transit. Sorry, and I did say like he's one of those travel channels, but he is Canadian as well.
So let's get started, and let's get one really obvious one out of the way. Yes, Canada is cold.
If you were hoping for a white Christmas, you got your wish.
I haven't seen like this before in my life.
You want to know how cold? Well, I grew up in a city called Winnipeg, and it's not uncommon to get to minus 40 degrees. And if you want an idea what minus 40 is like, it's so cold that if you take a pot of boiling water and throw it in the air, it will freeze before it hits the ground.
Wow.
Okay, we have a cup of boiling water. Hurry, it's cold.
Okay.
And because it's a random clip from the internet, you know it's true. So yes, Canada is cold, but I want to point something else out very important. There are times when Canada gets very hot. For example, Winnipeg, the city that gets to minus 40 in the winter time, can also get to plus 40 degrees Celsius in summertime.
Okay.
Which is
See, that's where we relate. From Australia, we use Celsius, so funnily enough, we're almost reaching that today. It's going to be like 38, so quite a hot day. But as I said, we're not on like America.
It's crazy. I don't know anywhere else that can do that, but it happens. And somehow we live with it. Number 2, languages. We do have 2 official languages in Canada, and those are English and French. We don't all speak French. A lot of people like me who peut parler, mais seulement un petit peu comme ça. Generally speaking, like the further west you go, the less French there will be. So by the time you get to British Columbia, where I live now, not a lot of French people made it this way. Number 3, friendliness. Are we as friendly as people always say? Those polite Canadians up there, eh?
Like that's always what I've learnt. When I say learnt, it's like like he's touching on it. Like people always say how Canadians are nice. So yeah, that's something
Friendliness.
not just I know, but yeah, it's like that public knowledge, if that's all right, it's or common sense. But yeah, how true is that? Because I feel like regardless, anywhere you go, you're gonna have a mix of people. Like it doesn't mean you're not gonna have like people that are mean. That I'm sure you will, even though it's known if you're known to be friendly. Not everyone is gonna be that way.
Are we as friendly as people always say? Those polite Canadians up there, right?
Polite.
How's it going? Okay. Boy.
People will help a stranger on the street. If you're lost and you're looking at a map, or like you've got a flat tire or something, people will help.
My question to you guys is, why?
In bigger cities, less so. In a place like Vancouver, Montreal, or Toronto, big cities, just you get in that mentality where everyone's go, go, go. So not everyone's going to always be nice to you. And speaking of people not always being nice to you, number 4, racism. I need to tread lightly here because I don't want Canada to come across too poorly. But yeah, there's definitely racism, especially against the Indigenous people. Again, I grew up in Winnipeg where there's a high Indigenous population. And
I think it was my first video that I made, no, because they were talking about the Indigenous people in Canada. And being from Australia myself, we've got Indigenous, Aboriginals, and I just found that very, very relatable, or how similar it is. And that's a fact. Like, there is a lot of racism, and yeah, I'm not going to talk about Australia's side too much because I'm here to learn about Canada. But yeah, it's like right now it's a very, very tough time, I guess you could say. When I say tough, it's like there is fights. It's got to a level where it's because we need to respect them. They are the original owners of this land that we are on. Like my grandparents came, my dad's side anyway, came from Malta, but yeah, it's like, so it's kind of really a public thing. I'm just trying to give the best description of it, that for us to respect them, even though most people are, but because it's put in our faces so much, it annoys some people, and then that triggers racism. And there's a few more things where there's special speeches on sports occasions, and yeah, there's been a few things like that maybe didn't go down the best because some people think it's pushed on too much. But yeah, and even Australia Day is known, or there's people that celebrate it, and then other people call it Invasion Day. So just to give you a little bit of a background on Australia, I didn't want to go too deep, as I said, but yeah, so I can relate when it comes to the racism, or our country can relate. To give you some backstory.
People, again, I grew up in Winnipeg where there's a high Indigenous population, and these people don't get treated too well. They get looked down on. They have a harder time finding jobs. So I don't want to give.
It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same.
The wrong impression and scare off any people who are visible minorities into thinking that Canada is like super racist or whatever. We're not that bad, but we could definitely strive to be better. On the note of multiculturalism, Canada is a very multicultural place. There was someone from Toronto, I'm going to totally butcher this story, but basically there was like an art student from Toronto who wanted to see if they could find someone from every country on earth. And they did. Like, they met someone from every country on earth in the streets of Toronto. Despite what I said about racism, we're pretty welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least I like to think so. Or what else
Yeah, see, that's really similar. Again, I feel like there is quite a few, even though we'll be really different, but then have a lot of similarities as well.
We're pretty welcoming.
Even from Sudan, we've got a lot of Sudanese in Australia. So yeah, a lot migrate here for better lives. But yeah, okay. So I more importantly, I just feel, yeah, like in certain parts we do have a lot of similarities, like Australia and Canada.
Yeah, at least I like to think so. What else we got going on? Oh, food. Yeah, so People like to always say that we eat poutine and put maple syrup on our on our breakfast cereal and stuff like that. It's not really the case. Like for me, poutine is great drunk food. I'll have it when I'm wasted, and maple syrup is great on pancakes, but I don't have either of those every day. What I have every day is an assortment of delicious treats from Korea, from China, from Spain, from France, from Italy. Like, with diversity and with multiculturalism comes some pretty awesome food.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Canadian food means to me. Not so much the cliches you always hear about, but the great diversity and the ability to get great food from all kinds of different countries.
Yeah. See, again, similar because of the multiculturalism in Australia as well. We have got a lot of those different cuisines, which is really nice because you're not just stuck with the same food all the time. You can switch things up and experience a lot of different foods from different countries, different cultures, different cultures.
Okay, next up on the list of things to know about Canada is we pay too much for things like this and things like this.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. Compared to pretty much any other country you can find, our cell phone rates are ridiculous.
Canadians love their wireless phones, all 26 million of them. The bills that follow, however, aren't as popular.
So expect to pay as much as like $80 or $100 a month. When it comes to drinking, we have pretty high alcohol costs as well.
This is Canadian beer, right? And like, here's a regular top, and you open it, right?
That is one thing that I would definitely like to change about this country. But what can you do, right? Which brings me to point number 8, which is that generally speaking, Canadians are pretty outdoorsy. We like to hike, we like to bike. We like to ski, we like to climb tree. We like to do things outdoors is what I'm trying to say. We don't have the craziest nightlife around, but people do like to get out and drink some beers in the woods.
Kind of connected what he talked about previously with the phones and whatnot, at least when it comes to paying a lot. This is the opposite side of it. Putting the phone down and enjoying nature.
Let's put it that way. Now, after you've had a few beers in the woods, you might want to get home. And because you don't want to drive home, you might want to take a bus. But you probably can't take a bus because of point number 9, which is that our public transit sucks. We need better trains, we need more buses. We need to just embrace public transit more as a culture. Canada's a place where a lot of people like cars. You kind of like, I had a car when I was 16. You just grow up in cities that are wide and spread out. That's one thing if you're moving from a place that has a very good subway system or something.
Like in Australia, ours is pretty good.
And then suddenly you're in Hamilton, Ontario. It'll be an adjustment. Oh yeah, and the last thing, do we use sorry and a like people always say we do?
Oh yeah.
In every internet joke ever.
Yeah. Like,
well, yeah, we do. I mean, come on. We're Canadian, eh? Like, what do you want from us? But we don't say a boot. Americans have this thing where we say a boot. Canada, a boot, eh? No, I say about, not a boot, about a boot. Sorry about that, eh?
Okay.
So yeah, that's my list. If you got any more questions about Canada, put them down in the comments. Of course, I'm Dan from The New Travel. See you guys next time.
I'll be sure to leave a link to this original video so you can go to his channel as well.
I think that was like our best show ever.
Like the video. Travel. Alright, we'll just hit the outro there with some music, but... Okay, what was I just gonna say on that? Sorry. Oh yeah, like I touched on, like, one of the first videos I did, and as I said, it could have been by AI. Another thing, like, I compared to how Canada is seen, like, with America. We kind of have New Zealand next to us, and we kind of also make fun of how they pronounce words. So, I don't know, I'm finding just some a close connection. I'm not necessarily with Canada. I don't know, it's interesting to say. I just feel like, Australia and Canada have some similarities, but I don't know if you also see it that way. So let me know your experience. I'm not sure how much you've actually learned about Australia as well. As I said, from the indigenous people and how they're treated, I'm like, wow, it's almost exactly. But is that because of how humanity is? And yeah, in these first world societies. But yeah, this made me just feel a lot of similarities with Canada in a few areas, that's for sure. So I'd love to see, as I said, I'd love to see your feedback on how you see Australia. Even going into creating this channel, I'm like, oh, like how interested are you of seeing someone from Australia? As I know a lot of Americans make reaction videos to different countries, and people like to see the American point of view. So let me know your thoughts about it all, and any other videos you'd like to see reactions on. Definitely got more coming. I think at this point we've reached about 250 subscribers already, point of recording this video. So yeah, I can tell there's at least a little bit of interest, so I'm gonna keep making these reactions. Let me know more videos you'd like to see reactions on, and I'll see you in the very next one.